Hello, we're here to learn about feet. This video is going to be everything I know about feet in one video, so I never have to make another foot video again. So everybody better sit down and listen, because this is it. I'm joking, but not joking. So, how have you guys been? I hope that you've been well. Yesterday, I had a miracle happen to me, and I thought I was going in for a tooth extraction, and actually, I didn't have to get it extracted. So, that was really nice. I didn't expect that. It's got to be a tooth miracle, right? I can't understand what happened. And a little bit of a disclaimer, I'm making these videos because I've been working in the industry. I counted, it's not 8 years, it's actually 9 years. And I thought it would be nice to make some videos that would be helpful for people who are looking to help their nails or help their feet, something to do with what I'm doing at my job currently online and reach a bigger audience. These videos are not going to be perfect because I'm kind of weird. And that's okay, but it seems like I've been able to get a message across to people regardless of how I am perceived, and that's good with me. Thank you for watching my videos. Let's continue. Routine foot care is really important, guys. So important. You don't want to be in a situation where things accumulate too far and you're too scared to go to somebody to get help. You could take care of your feet consistently and not have those issues happen. And this is coming from somebody who earns a living from taking care of people's feet. I just so think it's important. Hold on. I just so think it's important that everybody has a little bit of understanding what needs to be done in the basic sense to take care of their feet, so then they don't have too many troubles later on. That being said, if you live in an area that has a professional that's been trained specifically to pedicure feet in a really non-damaging way, that can be very beneficial for you. So you should find Google, look it up, and see if there's anyone out there that can help you learn or can help you with your current problem, because there are people out there that are really interested in taking care of feet and will do a good job. So prevention is obviously key. So we're going to talk a lot about prevention today. I think that anybody can have a simple routine, and it doesn't take it's not like my 10-step foot care routine. You don't need to do that. There's just a couple of things that you could implement after a shower or during a time that you have more time that will truly give you benefits to feeling a lot better. I know that people that come see me, after they've seen me, they feel so happy. They've taken care of their feet and they feel like they're walking on clouds, sometimes people say. And I think that's the nicest compliment, but I also know that it's very important to take what you learn, take what I educate about, and use that in your day-to-day life, because it will help you out even more. And also make the person's job who's doing your pedicure a lot easier, and you won't have as many issues, which is amazing. Throughout the years, I think one of the biggest issues that I see happen is not that I'm not giving the right recommendations, but more so that the people who come see me are having a hard time making a consistent routine. And I think that's okay, but I also think that it's not impossible to start a routine and have those things implemented into your life. For me personally, from my own experience, I find having a routine of a lot of different things very hard, but I do know that with a little bit of effort and consistency, you can have a little bit of improvement and workability in those things, and that's also very important and can happen for you. One of my recommendations, honestly, I just started reading this book this year, but so far I'm halfway or a little bit halfway through. It's called Atomic Habits. I think the author is James Clear, and he goes through and breaks down the idea of creating new habits, implementing them into routines really well. It could be beneficial to anyone who is open to learning a new habit or learning from another person how to implement those habits. I think that I've learned a lot. And one takeaway from the book, and also that I know because it's happened for me, is that it's the amount of times that you do it, not necessarily when you do it or how you do it. So it's like, for me, for a long time, being able to like cleanse my skin before I go to bed consistently was really hard. And then, you know, like over time, I just kept with it. And that doesn't mean I did it every day, but eventually I was able to have more of a consistent routine around bedtime. And that doesn't mean I have a consistent 10-step skincare. It means that I cleanse my skin before bed and put moisturizer on, or put my tretinoin on, you know, like it's not like, oh, I have this like elaborate, amazing thing that I do every night before bed. Though sometimes it is nice to have a little bit more of elaboration on your skin when you're feeling like you need to decompress. But we could have a video about that some other time. So starting a foot care routine will help you out today, but it'll also help you out in the future. And I think I said that before, it's really important. And after you've gone to see a specialist, or you have decided that you want to start taking care of your feet, it really is up to you. There's not going to be anybody who's going to be reminding you. And it's important to take that into account and start doing things for yourself. We all have to do it. So let's start with all feet and nails. So all feet and nails can benefit from daily moisturization with a product that's at least 5 to 10% urea. Urea is a natural moisturizing factor of our skin. It is a cherolytic and a hydrolyphic, and that means that it exfoliates and also draws moisture to the skin, and that helps keep the skin flexible. So when you have a callus, if you use a urea-based moisturizer, it's going to help exfoliate that callus and also keep it flexible. To be able to improve your toenails as far as impacted toenails go, and just every day for every type of toenail, exfoliating your nails with a towel, rubbing it gently after a shower to help loosen up any dead skin around the sidewalls and the free edge. That's going to help remove extra skin that could build up underneath your nail. And if you can't reach your feet, you can put the towel on the ground and use one foot as the foot and use one foot as like a hand to help exfoliate your feet. And do that on both sides. And then after you've exfoliated your toenails, make sure to dry in between your toenails. In between your toenails, if moisture builds up, that can lead to athlete's foot or cracked skin, irritation, things that you don't really want to have happen in between your toes. And an easy way to prevent that is by drying in between your toes. Everybody should do it. Does everybody do it? Not sure. Sometimes I forget. Mostly people who have sweaty feet, that can be very beneficial for. So if you have somebody who does wellness pedicures, or I think in the States they're called medi-pedis. They're called various things, but someone who's a pedicure specialist. If you have a pedicure specialist in your area, I would go see them at least one time a year. I would say more if you have a persistent issue that you need taken care of, but if you're on the budget and your feet are pretty average, maybe just once a year is okay. I don't think it's important to go see somebody every single month if you're not dealing with a persistent issue and you're able to self-direct and help take care of your feet after their recommendations. But obviously follow what the person says to you. That person probably knows best when they see your feet in person. So after a shower, if you apply nail oil to your toenails, it's just as beneficial to your toenails as it is to your fingernails. Make sure you're using a really good nail oil that absorbs into the nail and skin. It shouldn't be too greasy because you don't want to be slipping around. You can also use this to help create smoothness on any rough or dry areas on your feet because it is an emollient. It'll help smooth down skin. But if you are dealing with some sort of fungal issue, I would not recommend using too much nail oil unless it's a medicated version. So investing in good shoes. I think that when you're younger, in your 20s, you don't think about this. I know I was really guilty about this, and I'm lucky that my feet have always been pretty like good/average. I haven't had any too many problems. They're quite narrow, so it's not like I'm shoving my foot into a tiny place. But that being said, some people don't have narrow feet and they are putting their shoes in really tiny toe boxes. And the toe box is the area of the shoe that your toes are in. And that area needs to be at least as wide, if not slightly wider, than your toes. Wow, I didn't realize that turning up the light would change my face. Okay, so to find a pair of shoes that might fit a pair of wider feet, you can go on Google again, look up wide toe box shoes. Somebody I know uses the brand Barefoot, bear as in the animal, not like naked. Apparently they're very comfortable, they look very nice, I would try something like that. Apparently those are also very good for arch correction. I have a pair of like barefoot shoes, not the toe kind, and I found them really comfortable, but I don't usually have a problem with my arches. So if you have really dry feet, at nighttime, use something occlusive like Vaseline or a specially formulated balm for feet. You can get something like Carousel, that works really well. It has salicylic acid and urea in it, as well as petrolatum, which is Vaseline. As long as your feet are clean and dry, using Vaseline on your feet is completely acceptable. I also think that the brand, what is it, Gold Bond, they have some ointments that might be really good for your feet. I haven't personally tested them. And then also, as I said before, urea 10%, that works very good. I recommend Eucerin Complete Care. That's the brand that I recommend to all my clients, and when their feet come back but after using that, they're always really nice. Let's talk a little bit about sweaty feet. If you have sweaty feet, wear cotton socks. Why is my voice always like this when I tape? This is so annoying. Okay, so if you have sweaty feet, wear cotton socks. If you have sweaty feet, change your socks midday. If you have sweaty feet, use a foot spray instead of an occlusive ointment type moisturizer. I like the brand Gaywall. They have this medicated foot spray that's in a green bottle. I'll put a little picture. It deodorizes your feet and keeps them moisturized and has a little bit of urea in it, so it helps exfoliate, and it's good. I like it. It's also something I recommend to my clients. I don't always recommend foot-only products because I think that, because I believe in accessibility, and I know that sometimes you can get something from the drugstore that's a little bit cheaper than buying the foot-specific brand that somebody might be affiliated with, so I'm always up for giving recommendations from the drugstore. Okay, so cracked skin. So if you have cracks on your heels, you probably already know this can be a very tough issue to deal with. One of the things that you need to know is in order for those cracks to heal, they need to be extremely clean. I recommend going to a pedicure specialist to help get those cracks nice and clean. If you do not have one in your area, I would definitely, give yourself a foot bath and make sure that you're washing around and in those cracks as well as possible, using a foot file and gently exfoliating around the cracked area, and then using either the FootLogic's crack skin formula. I believe there's like a DD mousse, and then also I believe Gaywall also has a foot specific balm that you can use. Those are all good, and I would just make sure that you're keeping them dry and clean all the time, because if not, then if more dirt gets in and if they become dirty, they're just not going to heal, unfortunately. And in order to prevent cracks from happening to your feet, just make sure you're always moisturizing your heels and taking good care of your feet. You can prevent a lot of the things that happen to your feet by just paying attention to them a little bit, and you'll be good. Calluses. Calluses! Everyone has calluses, and it's okay. Calluses come from friction and from pressure. So you might be standing on your feet, or your shoes might be tight and your feet are rubbing against them. That means a callus is going to form. They form to protect your feet, but over time they accumulate and they become hard, and they become hard to manage. So in order to keep your feet nice and flexible, like I said earlier, 10% urea, it's a cherolytic and it's a humectant that's going to exfoliate and moisturize your feet at the same time and keep the skin flexible. You can give yourself a little foot soak for maybe like 7 to 10 minutes, depending on your feet. If you have a medical issue, make sure you contact your medical service provider to make sure it's okay for you to do that. And then you can use a gentle foot file and sort of gently exfoliate some of the callus away. I wouldn't take too much off in the beginning. I would just do that every night, every other night, until you see a little bit more results, and probably leave 10 to 15% of the callus left on your feet, so then your feet have something to stand on and protect your feet from any future impact. Because if you take away all of your callus, you can run into more issues. Your feet can get cracked, you can get blisters, they're going to be incredibly sore. You just don't want to take all of the callus skin off of your feet. Carousel Intensive Foot Repair Ointment is really amazing for calluses. Put that on nightly after you've washed and cleaned your feet to make sure you're drying them as well. And your feet will eventually exfoliate and slough off all of that skin, and your feet will be nice and smooth and moisturized. Again, supportive footwear that supports your foot type, your arches, your longitude and latitude arches. You want a wide toe box if you have wide feet, and you want to ask a shoe specialist what kind of footwear would be best for your feet. Corns. Truthfully, I don't usually recommend people to deal with corns on their own. Sometimes corns can have a blood blister underneath them, and that's something that definitely needs to be treated by a service provider, probably a medical service provider. I deal with very small superficial corns, and I use specific tools to take care of them. So I wouldn't say go get a corn tool and remove your own corn, just because you can run into some issues. Essentially, they're a callus buildup that are growing into your foot, so give your feet a good soak if it's a small superficial corn, and then try to use your foot file to exfoliate and see if that helps the issue. Warts. I just need to talk about them because they happen and it's okay, but I do see some people come in unknowingly that they have warts, so I think it's an issue that should be talked about. This isn't medical advice, this is just from experience and understanding. In my area, you're able to go to the doctor and can get them frozen. They're not going to disappear over one freezing. You're probably going to have to go back, and that is fine. To prevent warts, you want to keep your feet hydrated, and you want to keep the skin flexible, and you do not want any portals of entry, which are cracks and little cuts, anything that a wart virus could get into your foot. So to prevent warts, you want to keep your skin flexible and hydrated, and you want to wear protective footwear in areas that like the pool or the sauna, just to make sure that your feet aren't on an area that other people who have warts are stepping on, and keep your feet protected from them. Don't share your foot care items with other people. You don't want to spread the wart virus, If you live in a house that has more than one person in it, you want to be sure that you are cleaning in between people's showers, 10% bleach solution. If you or a loved one has a wart, that can help prevent an infection spread of the warts on your feet. There are some really good videos by dermatologists telling you about at-home wart removal, and those are pretty accurate, so I'm gonna let you go on YouTube and find that information. Let's talk about your toenails. For the most part, most people should cut their toenails straight across and then round the edges of the corners. That's so the sides of your nails don't poke into your toes, which can lead to irritation and annoyance. Not only skin irritation, but also mental irritation. So if you have dry, brittle toenails that are not fungal, make sure that you're using cuticle oil on the nails. Moisturize them daily to avoid any polish until the problem stops. So if you have involuted toenails, those are the toenails that pinch and they look like a strong curve. I would go to a pedicure specialist and get regular pedicures and follow their recommendations. Keep your nails slightly longer so then the toenail edge doesn't start slicing into the side of your toenails. Make sure that you're exfoliating your toenails with a towel so then any buildup doesn't continue to accumulate underneath the nail sidewalls, and you'll have less pain. You can also get a treatment that's called a brace, and you can get that with a pedicure specialist or some sort of foot care specialist, and those braces can help widen your toenail over time. It does take time, but it does work. Ingrown toenails. If you have an infected ingrown toenail, truthfully, you need to go to the doctor. Pedicure specialists can't work on a toenail that's infected, so that needs to be taken care of. After the toenail isn't infected, then you could go to a wellness pedicure specialist or a foot care specialist, and they can help you. Using a brace, as I mentioned before, those can be helpful. As far as preventative goes, you want to keep your toenails a little bit longer, as well as rounding off the edges so the sidewalls don't poke into your toe. I would strongly avoid doing any sort of, do-it-yourself poking out the toenail. I would definitely go see a specialist. There's a lot of people that can help you, and if you're using tools that aren't disinfected, you can cause a lot more injury and problems to your toe, so I would get it taken care of. Flexible eggshell toenails. What is that? That's a toenail that's really thin and can break really easily. I see them every once in a while. Most people have average to thick toenails, but some people have eggshell toenails. So if your toenails are kind of like chipping and you know it's not fungus, you can use a nail strengthener. I really like Active Glow, and I really like the C&D RXX. When you have thinner toenails, I would cut your nails when they're dry, not wet. When they're wet, it can kind of like be harder to cut them. They're really soft. It's better to cut them when they're dry. Sometimes people with thinner toenails have sweaty feet, so I'm just gonna recommend that you might wanna change your socks midday, because that will help with keeping your toenails nice and dry. Fungal nails, what to do? This is not medical advice. This is just coming from practice and seeing all sorts of different toenails. So discolored toenails, thick toenails, those can all be treated either by a medical service provider or by your own home remedy. Honestly, I would seek a medical service provider's advice as soon as possible. I would make sure that you get a sample to make sure that it is a fungal nail and not something else. After you do that, if you know it's a fungal nail, don't share your nail clippers or any of your nail tools with anybody, and make sure that you're disinfecting your bathtub, your tools that you work on your feet with, and any area that's communal, so then you don't spread the toenail virus. And I would avoid any like Whirlpool pedicure chairs or doing anything that's very communal with your toenails until the area is treated and taken care of. So to prevent fungal nails, you want to keep your toenails healthy, dry, without cracks. Not dry as in like overly dry, but you don't want to have a moist, sweaty environment that a fungal infection can breed in. You want to make sure that your toenails are really healthy and taken care of. We can talk about preventative care because that's really important, and that's the number one thing that people should look out for, or that's the number one thing that people should be educating themselves about when it comes to feet, is what to do to avoid having any sort of problems. And obviously, you know, nobody's perfect and things happen. It's not a huge deal to have to treat things, but you can prevent these things by just making sure you take care of your feet and have a routine that is for your specific foot type, and not neglecting your toenails, making sure that you cut straight across, round the edges, make sure that you're putting your nail oil on your toenails as well, and moisturizing your feet and using something like Carousel or a 10% urea product. Those things will keep your feet nice and healthy. With consistent use, you will see the results and you'll feel a lot better. I like to recommend, if you do have an issue or the starting of an issue, and you have been cleared by your medical practitioner service provider, or you're taking things into your own hands, you can use the FootLogix brand or the Gaywall brand and look for your specific issue. Honestly, I think as far as like sensory feel goes, I definitely recommend FootLogix. I find Gaywall products to be a little bit more on the heavier side, and if you don't like slipping around on your feet, then go with the FootLogix. They make a really good toenail tincture. I can't say that word. Tincture. It's a spray and it's a toenail tincture, and that can help you with discolored nails, and it is a really good spray to have in your arsenal if you deal with foot care problems. Okay, so here's something that my foot care teacher taught me. It didn't happen in a day, so it's not going to be fixed in a day. And this is really important to know when you have something like a discolored, possibly fungal nail. It's going to take some work, like a lot of work. It's going to take a long time. It could be 1 or more years. And that's even when you go and get it taken care of by a doctor. And I'm not saying that to poo-poo on getting your foot taken care of. I want you to get your foot taken care of. I just want to let you know that you're gonna have to be committed. Really, really committed. You could be lucky and have it fixed in 6 months. And when you hear this, don't hear this as something that you have no hope and your world is over and you're gonna have to just have a funeral for your feet. Take it as just learning what's gonna happen. I don't like to tell people, I like to give people realistic advice in that sense. I'm not gonna tell you, oh, it'll happen, and not give you the accurate information of what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a long time, you're gonna have to be persistent, and I wish you good luck. Okay, so another thing to know is whatever treatment you're using, your toenail needs to be thinned out so that the treatment can absorb into the nail. So you want to leave maybe like 10% of your nail left after using a nail file, and use your treatment and just keep on being persistent with thinning out your toenail and putting on whatever treatment you're using. And like, for the record, I'm telling you that it's going to take a long time, and I don't even know if there are really any complete guarantees. Just be persistent. I believe in you. You can do it. If you look up yellow Listerine bath for toenail fungus, there are some people that'll give you information about that. It works, but it takes a long time. I think that's all I have to say about foot care. Hopefully this information is helpful to you. Creating a routine, trying to be consistent. If you're not consistent and you take a break, that's okay. But just like, start again. Just keep on trying, and that's okay. You know, everybody takes breaks, or, you know, things happen. Sometimes we're sad or burnt out and we don't have the will to take care of our feet, but that doesn't mean it has to be that way forever. I hope that you will continue to take care of your feet. Let me know if there's anything you have any interest in about feet or nails. I thought maybe I would make a cuticle oil video next. Like, what if we made cuticle oil in a video? Would that be fun? I don't know. Okay, bye.